Okay, for this next grouping, let's take 4, 5, and 6 together. We're asked to graph each of these, so we'll go ahead and do that with our graphing calculator and show you how you can get all the details you need to be able to graph this in ALEX. Okay, so we're going to now you could plug in various values of x, calculate them, get the y, come up with a table. That's what this calculator is great for doing. But it's even better because it'll show us the graph so we can check our answer when we're done. So let's see, what do we do? Let's go to menu. Let's start with the graph. And again, remember, we're going to clear this out, so we delete F1. And let's go ahead and get this one deleted. So we've got a nice clear window to go. So x squared plus 4x minus 1. X raised to the second power, arrow over, plus 4x. And again, always this variable key, subtract 1. Now be careful. If you put this minus here, I want you to see the difference. If I put that, it's a little bit smaller. It's hard to tell, but what's happening here is this is actually going to multiply it by negative 1. Take 4x, figure it out, multiply by negative 1. But it could look like, hey, I think it looks right to me. But watch, it's a little different. It's a little bit shorter. On the TI-84, it actually puts it a little bit higher too. So just make sure you're using the right negative sign. I've just seen too many times where when that's not done, you think you've got the right thing in, but it doesn't give you the right answers. Okay, so we've got this. Let's take a look at the graph, execute, graph it. That's what it's going to look like. Okay, let's see, can we, yeah, it's kind of cool. This thing you can kind of just move the arrow keys and then it moves the graph up and down. Just figure that out. Sometimes you just try something and say, oh, that kind of worked. But this Casio, sometimes you try something and it kind of gets you stuck. But if I don't answer it directly, go ahead and maybe search for some videos. That's how I've been doing it. So now, to be able to graph this in ALEX, though, we need to have some of these points. Now, with this window the way it is, remember we set it up as a square window, and we said y base and x base to make it nice and square. Execute. So that's how we did this window. You could see -2, -5, that's the vertex, and you could probably get these other points. But again, also you can go to the menu, and I'm going to show you something that I didn't show you before. When we go to the table, there's something called set, table set. We're going to go to there first. So it's got our function. We'll go to table set. We can set what value we want it to start with. Let's have it start, because we're looking over, let's have it start at -10, and let's have it keep going, execute, until it gets to 15 or 20, whatever. And we'll have it step by ones. So start at -10, -9, so it'll give us all those values. We'll execute that. We'll go to the table. Now it's starting at -10. Okay, so I've got all these points, but I can arrow down and see, I see it went 11, 4, -1, -4, -6, -4. Okay, so I can see a vertex here, -4, -5. Then it starts going back up. So you start looking for various x values. We got y values. You've got all sorts of values that you can plot. And so to graph this, -5, what was it? So -2, -5, and then on either side it's at -4. So this was like -2 is down at -5, and then on either side it kind of going like this. So that'll help you use the tools in ALEX to actually draw the graph when it's asked. Graph this parabola. Okay, see, pretty straightforward now. We're just going to practice this 3 times. When we're done with this, we can, nice thing is you can go to the graph and they've got the points there too. We'll go back to the menu. We'll go over to graph, and that typically will take us back to here. We'll delete what we had before and we'll put in our new function. 3x squared minus 6x minus 3. Okay, and we're going to graph it, draw it. So that's what that's going to look like. And again, you could maybe pick off the points right from this particular graph, or if not, we go to the menu, to the table. Let's see if it, let's see the set. It's still set where we set it, so that's good. We'll keep it at that. Although maybe we don't really need to be at -10. Maybe, and again, we come down here. You can kind of see the vertex is going down, down, -6, and then it bounces back up. So -1, -6 is our vertex. 2, -3 is another point. 3, 6 is a point. So then, and we take off from there. Okay, so we can use this table function to be able to reproduce the graph with the Alex tools. Finally, let's go ahead and do number 6 while we're here, and hit the menu, go over to graph. And that's what I like. This calculator has so many different things it can do, and with the menu it becomes easier once you've practiced them a few times. So we're going to put in this function for, and then remember, if you watch the earlier videos, to get the absolute value, you go to catalog. Catalog is right above the 4 key, so you do shift 4, that's your catalog. Absolute value is still there. Now remember, if you haven't done this before, you might be up here, you might need to come down, but remember ABS for absolute value. And then we get it, and then we can do x plus 2, 2, and then we get out of the absolute values and we subtract 5. And we hit execute. We'll go to draw to see what we get. We get this V shape coming down here, -2, -5, and then we could get the other points. And again, we can also go over to the table, and maybe this time, because of where it's placed, we'll go to set, and instead of starting at -10, we'll start at 0. And just execute. Okay. And with the table starting at 0, we see, oh, it's going up from there. What was, maybe I wasn't paying enough attention. How do I get back? That's a good question. So I'm going to go to the table. Back to formula. Okay, that's where it is. I'm going to set. Let's go with -5. I guess I need to be a little bit more negative. That didn't sound right. Anyway, I need to start in the negative value. So then I see it coming down. -2, -5. So there's our vertex of our absolute value, and then we go up from there. Okay, so that's how we can use this tool to analyze various things. Awesome.